Hi, I'm Victor Margiotta, and this is the Community Show. Oh my gosh, we are in for a treat tonight. We have Daisy Jopling, but I have to thank James Brooks and Joe Pisano for an awesome job that they do with the show. And I tell you, without them, we wouldn't be able to bring wonderful people like Daisy on. Daisy, thank you so much for coming on the show.
I am thrilled to be here.
Oh, I'm so glad. Today, we don't usually announce the date, but it's March 28th, 2023. And you just had a show a couple days ago, the 25th, at the Paramount in Peekskill.
Yep.
Tell us how it went.
Oh, well, I mean, I had the time of my life. When you put your everything into something, and I did for 3 months, put my everything into this show. I was involved in producing it. We had gorgeous photos which were shown, which we carefully picked and edited and everything from scenes of Egypt. And we had a beautiful lighting designer. Mark Weston did projections. Rosie Adelson did lighting. I had all the charts written. Booking all the musicians, on and on. Amazing show. But sometimes in one's exhaustion after a show like that, and I'm still in just the third day afterwards, I can potentially focus on the things that didn't go well. So I feel immediately like saying, oh, we had this problem and we had this problem. But really, in the overall picture of things, we had an incredible show. And I, just as a quick background as how this idea of the show even came together. So anyway, I'm a Peekskill resident, proud member of the community, and really loving the Paramount Hudson Valley Theatre, which has been a creative base for me. And I'm so grateful for this community and that theatre and the people who run it, Abigail Adams and all of the tech crew are amazing there. So every year I do a show, and I kind of don't want to do the same show every year, so I don't. I do a pretty much new show every year, nearly. So I had this incredible opportunity of performing at the pyramids in Egypt, and I'm talking the Great Pyramids of Giza. And that came about in a very magical way, where a year prior, my dress designer said to me, Daisy, I found this material. Daisy, listen, totally excited. This material has to be worn by you at the Great Pyramids of Giza in Egypt. I went, I've never even been to Egypt. I don't know anybody in Egypt. Forget it.
Yeah.
Jane Wilson-Markey, by the way, I have to mention her because you'll see her
Jane.
dress. A genius, amazing. But she mentioned it to me during lockdown. I had no concerts, I'm at home. My Joe is in spirit form, so I'm like, So I decided to start looking into just all these amazing kind of the information about the history of the pyramids. Let me tell you, that is so fascinating. It doesn't matter who you are, what you're into, there's going to be something that gets you turned on. So I was like, whoa, what? And every time I listen to more, I'm like, and I'm hearing about the fact that still nobody really knows when they were built. Yeah. Nobody really knows what they were, how. So there's some higher energy going into this. And when you're there, when you're next to them, like when I am next to them, I'll talk personally, it feels like you can't worry about anything. Like there does feel like a kind of higher, real bliss, kind of awe, but in a very love. It's like love. It's difficult to describe, but the moments when you're like, everything's going to be fine. You just know everything's going to be fine. That's how it feels, being next to the pyramids. Wow. So I feel, in my belief, where I'm at now, I feel they were built by people who had, high levels of love and consciousness and very high levels of technology. And they were apparently used for energy sources, at some point. And so I'm like, wow, imagine the energy being right next to the pyramids, and what would that do to our music, which is also vibration. Everything's vibration. So I'm just, it's like, when you get an idea and it's not leaving your mind, I'm like, maybe I have to try and do this. I literally did not know anybody in Egypt. I didn't know step one but I'm thinking about it a lot, and I'm thinking how great it would be, which is, by the way, of course, how we create our lives, right? We get the idea, we let our imagination roll, and something happens. I get a call out of the blue from this friend of mine, Gary Springer. Daisy, I'm going to Egypt next week.
No way.
I'm going to the Cairo Film Festival. I think you should get on a plane with me. In a week. I went, I'm there. I still did. It was like November 2021. I actually did start having concerts, but I was free. So I get on a plane and I arrive in Egypt, and it's very weird. I feel like I'm coming home. Now, Egyptians feel like all civilizations potentially came out of Egypt. And I've met a lot of people who arrived there and feel like they're coming home. So maybe in some DNA from my ancestors, I don't know, going back a long time, I was in Egypt. I don't know. But I feel very comfortable, which is quite odd, seeing as I've never been there, and seeing as I don't speak the language, and I don't know anything about I don't know what's going on. Like, you know, it's the body language is so different. Like, it's such a different world out there. I can't even tell you. Different world. So I'm just thinking, I feel at home, and I don't know why, but I feel good. And we arrive one evening, and the next morning we're at breakfast in a very beautiful hotel. It's an ancient palace. It's like crazy beautiful. And November, the weather's like perfect. I mean, I'm kind of feeling like I'm in paradise, basically. Ha! I'm in paradise. I've moved from here to over there. And basically this lady walks past who is obviously not like Arabic. And I'm thinking maybe she speaks English. And I say to her, would you like to have breakfast with me? Like, I just feel this impulse. I am quite friendly, but I actually don't often do that. I'm kind of in my world a lot and doing my thing, and I've got my projects. And she looked at me like, okay. And she kind of went, yes, okay. She came and sat down, and I said, so tell me about you. What do you do? Well, she said, I produce concerts, you know, and I went, oh, that's a good thing, because I've come all this way to play a concert at the Great Pyramids of Giza. She went, you know, that's not easy. I went, that is exactly the kind of thing that makes me want to do it even more, you know.
Yeah.
Anyway, she ended up producing my concert.
Oh my God.
So a year later, we had the concert, November 2022, and a lot of people, well, 16 people went over from here to all the way to Egypt for the concert. But lots of people couldn't go, and they said, can you recreate this concert at the Paramount Hudson Valley Theatre? And I went, yeah, let's do it. And I'm thinking New York City, right? Every culture, New York City is the melting pot of the world, blah. You know what? There are not a lot of Middle Eastern musicians in New York City. And even like, I mean, it took me months to try and find, because I didn't want anybody. I wanted the best of the best of the best of the best. So I ended up getting the best of the best of the best, which was a real like journey and proved quite difficult in some ways. But I found people, not just from Egypt though. We had Palestinian, but quite beautiful. We had Israeli, Palestinian playing next to each other, making musical love, you know. We had Lebanese, Egyptian, Syrian, and I think that was it. And then we had this incredible string trio from Russia and Ukraine. Again, a beautiful thing. Music, the language of the soul, you know, the language of human beings. Anyway, and we produced this incredible concert. And we also, amazingly, and I just have to say thank you to all the students, because the big problem was that I had an opening act, and I thought it's going to be a certain length, and it was about 5 times as long as I thought. And so everything went on very late. So the students ended up singing at like 10:30, 11 p.m. Some of them are like 10 years old. So it was very stressful, actually. That part of it was very stressful. And I have to apologize. I didn't mean it to be like that. But anyway, these kids learned a song in Arabic.
Oh my goodness.
We had like 46 kids singing a song in Arabic. Beautifully, beautifully. I could have cried. I mean, I was stressed, but I still could have cried. So that happened, and I went to play. So later on in this show, right at the end of it, you're going to see the last piece that we performed at the pyramids. And this is the song that we also performed here as the last song of the night. It's an Egyptian song. It's very beautiful. It's by a legendary Egyptian composer, very loved by the Egyptian people, like so loved. And the song talks about, it's kind of interesting. It talks about, which I think we can all say about every place we live in. Sometimes it can drive you up the wall, but it's got a sweetness that always draws us back. And Egypt has that. It's very sweet. People are very kind and always smiling, and it's amazing kind of joy that you see everywhere. So the song talks about that. It's a very sweet song. And I know one of your questions today is to talk about my Music Mentorship Foundation.
Yes.
And we had this amazing thing where I went over to Cairo, and then I was introduced to these people who run an incredible arts program. So these kids come from some of the poorest areas in Cairo, and that's poor. And they're brought by social services into this arts program because they have been so emotionally traumatized, so horrible stuff's happened in their life that they literally kind of don't speak, like they're just in this state. And this arts program totally gives them a voice. It is mind-blowing. And it gets these kids to create a show talking about the stuff they've been through. I mean, stuff that we would be like tiptoeing around here in this country. The first time they meet the kids, they're like, okay, so let's take a theme, violence. They've all experienced terrible violence. We're going to talk about violence right now. I mean, I kind of, like, he would be like, don't talk.
Yeah,
they go right in, you know,
Yeah.
but with such softness and beauty and love, and like the people who run this place, this arts program are amazing. So I was like, okay, and I went to see the kids and they performed for me, like, and you would never think they've been through what they've been through. Like, they come on that stage, they give it their everything. This is their show. They've created it. Like, they've done the art on the back. They dance. And it makes you cry. I mean, I don't understand a single word, and I was crying the whole way through because you just feel, you know, you feel what these kids are doing and what's happened to them and the transformation they've had. And I then played for them, which was so beautiful. And we then hung out together, and they all tried the violin.
Wow.
And I said to the teachers, I said, look, you know, because they have a chorus program, I was like, I got this kind of mad idea. And I mean, I met this producer. I don't know if I can really make it happen, but like, it would be kind of amazing if these kids got this chance to actually sing in this concert at the pyramids. And you have to understand that, I only learned this, most Egyptians do not get to perform at the pyramids. Like, it's not easy. Like, very few concerts happen there. You know, it's this ancient, it's like one of the only 7 wonders of the, you know, the original 7 wonders of the world. It's like, it's the most precious thing in the whole of Egypt, kind of, you know?
Yeah.
You can't just book it and look, it's very difficult. So it's very prestigious. Only really, like, I mean, the fact that I played that, I still can hardly believe it happened. Like, literally. It was amazing. It was a whole magical thing. The spirits, my husband Joe, I don't know, all the spirits made this happen. It was impossibly magical. And I knew that for these kids, if they could perform there, because all the elite of Cairo go there, you know, and these kids, like, coming from where they come from, performing for them. Yeah. So they were like, really, we could do that? And the fact that I'd kind of suggested to them, that every time I faced real difficulties with this Pyramids concert, which was crazy difficult, I was like, I have to do it for the kids.
Yeah. And you love kids.
Yeah, I've had this amazing life of playing the violin around the world. I still have. And I know what music in my school did for me.
Yeah.
You know?
So you started playing when you were 3 years old.
Yeah.
Who gave you the violin to play?
Well, actually, so in my family, my aunt, my beloved Aunt Louise, who's still alive.
Oh, my gosh.
My lifelong mentor, still alive. Still my lifelong mentor. She was a professional violinist. Wow. And when I don't actually remember, my mum said when I was 3, I said, Mum, every day I want to play the violin. I want to be like Auntie Louise. But it's somebody. We inspire kids, all of us, by doing what we love to do. Even being with them and loving being with them. But like doing what we love to do, that's why it's so important that each one of us, as much as we can, does what we love to do, because we're influencing countless people around us. And so I wanted to do that. And then she also, I was very lucky because she ran music camps, which were very fun. And in England, you actually camp, like a camp means you go in a tent, like the kids all slept in tents.
So that was your influence to help kids, sure.
Because I had such a great childhood of her music camps and of my amazing school program and amazing teachers, like what the teachers do in all of the music schools, they save kids' lives. I mean, I have such respect for teachers.
Yeah, they say that if kids are involved in music in school, their progress is so much better.
So much better.
Yeah. Because
why? Why? Because playing a musical instrument is like, it's that moment of you being able to be you. You don't need to try to be something else. You can express who you are. And whenever we are truthful about who we are, it allows us to access, we are all kind of genius. I mean, we're all creative geniuses. Even if you think you're doing a job which doesn't seem creative, like say accounting, you are creating your life. Like everything we do, we are creative geniuses, and the music helps us to access that creativity.
There's no doubt.
And therefore, we realize by learning an instrument that we can create whatever we want in our lives. Not that it's necessarily going to be easy, but like we have the power to do it through our thought, through our imagination, and this somehow music connects us with our soul. It's difficult to say exactly what it is, but it's very good for the mathematical brain as well.
Yeah, well, you said it. Everything is a beat. Everything is a rhythm, and even our heartbeat, it's a constant beat. And so, for me, I love music. There's no doubt about it. What music do you listen to besides like violin music? What's your favorite type of music?
So I am always on this, some people say you only play the violin, but I'm always on an exploration of new music that I can play on the violin. And by the way, you can play any music on the violin. So it happens that right now, because of that experience I had a year ago, or for the last year in Egypt, because I went back quite a lot of times to kind of try and make everything happen, and I love being there. Like, it's a very special, magical country for me right now. I mean, it's just where I'm at.
Right.
I'm listening to tons of Egyptian music.
Cool.
Egyptian music has so much melody, which I really find in older American music, but like I'm not saying all, but like some of the modern American music doesn't have that so much. And I'm melody, right? That's the violin. So I love the melody. I love the sweetness and the rhythmic. It's very interesting rhythmically. Anyway, so I'm really into Egyptian music. But there's been times in my life when I've only listened to Cuban music, or mainly, only Brazilian. Only The Who, because I did the Who album. So it's like I go in phases of what's just speaking to me in that moment,
right,
and it'll always change for the rest of my life. I'm always going to reinvent myself.
That's unbelievable. Now, you do a lot of solo stuff, but you also have a band.
Yeah.
What's it like to try and keep a band together?
Yeah, and that's been a journey. I have the most incredible band in the world. Like, these guys are so amazing. For example, I did not end up taking them to Egypt, which was a decision made partly financial. Honestly, it was expensive to play there. And just because the government's like, whatever. They know you want to play there and they can charge you anything because it's like the pyramids. So it's like, oh God. But it wasn't easy to... I am somebody who will go to Egypt, which is a country where it's totally safe, but you never quite know what's going to go on. You have to be very in that place of being in the flow. Where people talk about being in tune, where you can't expect things to go like they're planned. So it was a bit concerning for me, seeing as I'd never done a concert in another country with my band like Egypt, which I was involved in the production. I mean, I wasn't the producer, but I felt like it's not Disney bringing us or something, where they can handle all the stuff, whatever.
Yeah, right.
It was me kind of bringing my band. And I just felt I can't guarantee that... It just felt too stressful for me, the thought of having to look after them as well as trying to make the concert happen. And I knew, literally, even on the day, they were like, oh, we're going to cancel because you didn't this. I mean, and they could have just cancelled. Like, that's how, it's like that a bit out there.
Yeah, right.
It's not so, organised.
Yeah.
So I just couldn't take that risk, really.
And they were fine with that?
No, not really. I think they've nearly forgiven me, but there's still sometimes they're like, so I hope we're going to do something there at some point, and I hope we will. Right. But it's led to actually a very interesting collaborative spirit in me, which means that when I go to, because the next project's at Taj Mahal in India, and I'm actually collaborating with Indian musicians, and there is something extraordinary about arriving in a room of musicians where you don't speak the same language, you don't speak the same culture. I'm wearing this, they expect their woman to wear that, blah, 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 blah. You start playing music together, it's like you have loved each other forever.
Wow.
You've known each other forever. It's like crazy love. It's amazing. And I felt that in Egypt, because I had never done that before, actually. But arriving in that first rehearsal, I had about 30 musicians backing me up. And these are like legendary Egyptian musicians. And I was playing some of their music as well, which was quite nerve-wracking in a way. But I was like, this is going to go great. It's all going to be beautiful. And the person I had connected with, like I'm working with Kailash Kher, who's a Bollywood absolute megastar, he will be the one who gets all the people that he knows. So they'll come because of him. And that was how it happened in Egypt. I had one person very famous. He was actually the bass player of the most famous rock band. So, but he's like a musical arranger, director, and he got everybody. They know him. He told them, because I'm not famous, right? So it's not like, I don't know, Celine Dion's coming. Oh yeah, we know her, or like whatever. It was like Daisy Jopling. Well, who the hell's that? What's she doing? Why is she coming to Egypt? And like, what's she doing at the pyramids? And she's a violinist. Like, there had never been a violinist play at the pyramids before. So he told them, no, she's fantastic, and she's also helping children in Egypt. Like everything about you can feel the intent of somebody. So they realized, I'm serious. I love Egyptian music. I love Egypt. I'm doing this for whatever I'm called to do this, and the children are going to be in it.
And the way it worked out was incredible. The fact that you met that producer everything was just, it was meant to be.
It was meant to be.
And that's how you have to live, you know what I mean? You got to push, 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 and then things will happen. But you got to take the steps. You got to be motivated. That's so important. Talk a little bit.
I have to just say one thing about that because it's so in me, and I am always asking myself to follow this. We you know, are being asked to be like always in this place of following an inspiration, which doesn't seem to be necessarily the right way to go. Like somebody might say, can you come here and do this? And you feel like doing it, but you're supposed to be like, I don't know, writing some new music that day or whatever, you know, is your job, you know. But you feel like going there. And guess what? When you get there, this is exactly who that person you needed. But like I met the person who does my social media, Chloe Wareham-Gordon, who's amazing social media guru. Hi, Chloe. I met her in a park on a walk because I felt like going for a walk at that moment when I was probably supposed to be working, and she felt like going for a walk at that moment, and we both started talking for no reason because I do talk to people sometimes, but like anyway, and then she's like, I'm social media. I said, good, I need somebody in social media. She said, well, I do this and I do that. I went, oh, really? That sounds like just what I need. She's amazing.
Awesome.
So all to say that it's like following, trusting those little voices. You know, I have to tell myself all the time because even though it seems like I'm living a magical life, I still have all this stuff I have to deal with in my own brain. I'm still like kicking myself for like having a too long opening act in the show, like kicking myself, you know, so I have to let go of that stuff.
Yeah.
Like everybody, like we all have to. And like, anyway, just to say that, you know, follow that moment, every moment of bliss.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have to do what seems to be the way because that's probably not it's what you feel like doing. Anyway.
Well, thank goodness they kept the Paramount going because it is the heartbeat of Peekskill. It really is. And it brings the business to everybody, all the restaurants. The parking is a problem.
Oh my God. In fact, I was like, but you know what?
What?
So
it worked out.
So I do believe there are, you know, like you can create your life. I was like, but I arrived early. So, I mean, it's not like I arrived at 8 p.m. the time of the show, but like I arrived early. But like, I was like, I'm going to get a parking space right opposite the theater. And I'm sure my husband joked because I got like that handicap spot.
Yeah.
Don't tell. Wait, you're on camera. No, but like he organized that for me. Right in front of the Paramount was where I parked.
I saw Sinbad there, you know, the comedian.
Yeah.
He's like, you know, this parking is horrible here. He said, I drove around 3 times. I went home, parked, and then walked here.
Anyway.
All right, the Rotary, real quick, and then we're going to wrap it up.
Wow.
You really do a lot of work with
Rotary is an amazing organization. And actually, you know what's interesting? 2 people came from Rotary, Staten Island, 2.5 hours driving to that concert on Saturday night because they're Egyptian. And they were like, oh, she's doing...
What?
And they had heard about... Because I connected with the Rotary Club near the pyramids of Giza.
Wow.
And they came to our concert, and they also have been supporting this arts program through me. They didn't know about the arts program. No, sorry. They did know about the arts program. But the fact that I was supporting them made them, I don't know, we kind of did this whole program together. And Rotary is an international family, and the people in Rotary are amazing.
They're amazing. It's such
everything's
a great
voluntary.
organization.
They are so inspirational to me.
Yeah.
I mean, like they live a very, you know, they're successful at their businesses, and somehow, and they're very wonderful families, and somehow on top of that, they give to the community so much.
It's the doers that they work full-time jobs and then they have to do more.
And they got some of them have got like trillions of people in their family, like grandkids, great-grandkids, you know, the whole thing, and still they do this. Amazing.
Right. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Thank you
Thank you
for having this
Victor.
clip. We're going to show a clip of Egypt.
This is the last song we did.
Okay.
You're going to see the children from the project, you know, from the arts program.
Yeah.
And the one girl, just to tell everybody before she introduces the song, she learnt English from YouTube because she wants to be a singer. Like, and she sounds like she's speaking, she went for an American school. Like, it's amazing.
Wow. Excellent.
But thanks for having me. I love the
right.
Paradise Restaurant.
Yes.
I go back here. I've been here ever since I first came here with Joe. So amazing to be here right now.
Yes, definitely
He's
it is
with
the
us.
paradise. Thanks, Daisy. I'm Victor Margiotta. This is the Community Show. Don't complain about what's going on out there. Get involved. Do something. Join the Rotary. Join the local fire department. Get involved.
Yep.
Thank you so much.
Good evening. My name is Mary Magdi, and I'm really happy and I'm so pleased and honored to be a part of this amazing concert in this collaboration with Daisy Jopling and Wasta Balad Brand and Afro Cairo Band. I'm so happy and pleased. And especially, I'm really happy that I'm going to be singing in this concert on 4th of November because it's also Valentine's Day in Egypt, which is invented by a famous Egyptian writer. His name is Mustafa Amin. So I'm really happy, and thank you so much.
Stand right in the center.
Thank you so much.
Thank you all so much. What an honor. What an honor, what an honor. So now you have just a few minutes to get a drink to enjoy this incredible night. And soon we will have Wustel Ballad on the stage. Thank you. Shukran, Gidden. Thank you for being with us tonight.